before I ask my main question, can I just ask you to clarify, on the board it says that if we've made previous comments, we don't need to resubmit those, but it says end of 2020. Is that a consultation that took place last summer?
Yes, that's
so,
right.
So our responses would have been June or July last year?
Yeah, there was, no, the consultation closed in the autumn from memory, in December in fact. Right. So if you made comments...
Because we seem to have been commenting and commenting and commenting.
Consultation.
I just want to make sure that
yes.
I
so
don't assume that some have been made.
If you commented on what was called, I think it was called the Regulation 18 plan, which was the one that the consultation closed just before Christmas, those comments you don't need to make them again, they will be kept and carried forward.
If you want to make on the previous draft plan, then we have to comment on that.
Yeah, no, I think you need to, sorry, James, you need to do those again. Yeah, so anything you want to comment, if you commented last year, your comments are still there in the bag. If you want to comment, if you didn't, you need to comment now.
Okay. My principal questions then. Wellbourne, looking at the numbers, it appears that the housing development is 225 properties a year over 16 years.
No. If you simply divided the number 3,800 by 16, yeah, that's the answer you get. Yeah. But year one, 30?
It just still doesn't seem like a very large number.
Maybe 100. It's because it takes a few years to build up the...
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it still seems a very small number over that period of time, which is then pushing development into areas where perhaps we don't want to see it.
Well, at its peak, it'll probably hit about 300 a year, but it's always governed by the ability to build, the materials to build, the planning process, and of course, how many houses come on the market in terms of selling the houses that are there.
So if there's no demand?
Well, if there's no demand, they wouldn't build it. And that would be the same, and this is the crazy thing, we're told force in 10,500 houses in the next 17 years into Fareham. In terms, except for the 4 little sites that Fareham Borough Council will be building, we've got no way of forcing anyone to build a single house in the borough.
And again, looking at your numbers, that's a 72% increase on the maximum number that you said previously.
It's colossal,
so
absolutely.
It makes little sense.
Personally see it being done. It's almost a sterile argument, but yeah. On the other hand, though, if we don't do it and go through the process, then it will surely be done to us. So at least we are, as a community, if the plan is found out, able to choose where the development will go. Whereas if we just said, well, they don't really get built, let's not bother, then it will be the developers and the appeal inspectors who will then decide where the housing goes and probably with zero infrastructure as well. So it's about controlling the process, even if at the end of it you don't get the housing numbers at the level that the government is demanding. Yet they cannot force a developer to build a house.
Sorry, one question. On the south of Longfield Avenue, the area on the plan appears to show basically right down to the bypass as land for development. There is a dotted line across which says that this boundary is to be agreed at some point in the future. For those of us who are really concerned about the strategic gap, would it not be better to define the minimum that you propose for the gap? And in terms of the gap, I wouldn't have thought that playing fields really constitutes what we would see as a gap.
I'll ask Gail to comment on the specifics of that. My understanding of the plan is that there is the housing element in those 2 sites south of Longfield Avenue, and then a large chunk of green, which is green, and nothing else, not housing.
It's not defined.
Well, let me ask Gail to comment, if I may, on that boundary south of Longfield Avenue site.
So the indicative master plan that I showed on the screen is in the plan is just that, indicative. It's trying to give an idea of the kinds of things that could come forward, but it's more than we need to do at this stage. What the policy says is the policy draws a red line around all of the land. We felt, though, that that would just be very alarming if there wasn't any more detail of what we were working with the landowners, the developers on. The policy talks about a council-led master plan and design code, so that's what we will move to start working on, and that will have more of the details. So the indicative master plan, the line, as you correctly say, the strategic gap, there's a flexible line there, is done deliberately because there was further work to be done on exactly the locations of things. If you have a view on any of those, then that's exactly the kind of comment that can be included as part of this consultation that we're going through now.
Hopefully that's helpful.